Thank you, Heenal, for such a wonderful introduction. And hello, everyone. I hope everyone is having a good time, learning so much about TDS since morning. So so my section is very practical. So it's not like theory. There's a nice deck of PPTs which has more websites and everything. So we'll go quickly. If you guys have any questions, we'll take it during the end of the session so that the flow is not hampered. So I'll just quickly start with the presentation, and let's try to finish fatafat ekdam. Okay. So basically, the session that I'm going to take today is going to talk about all the, how to basically handles all the TDS defaults, or sometimes if there are errors or issues, there are simple ways to do it, and basically just how to look after it. So I'll just dive into it. So these are the topics that I'm going to cover today. I'm going to cover section 201, 1 and 1A. That is basically the interest sections. Then the compliance check utility for section 206 AB and CCA. Now this section is not valid from 1st April 2025, but I've still kept a few slides in this because you may find these helpful, in case there are some TDS compliances which have happened last year. So just that you are aware about how it used to happen. Then there is I'm going to discuss about lower TDS concepts and requirements. Then the TDS corrections and TDS refund, and then the TDS return correction. So this is what we're going to cover today. So let's start first with the section 201, 1 and 1A, the notices and default. So basically, you may get these notices if you have either not deducted TDS, or you have deducted the TDS but you have not paid to the government. So that is when this interest is applicable. You will receive a notice from the department, and I'll just tell you how to download the justification report and how to resolve these issues basically. So first, where section 201 and 1A, we'll just go through what it says. So if a person has not deducted tax or has not paid after deducting the TDS, that is when this section gets attracted. If there is a delay in TDS, then the interest rate is 1% from the month in which the TDS was deducted till the date when you paid to the government. And section 201 1A, that is delay in payments of 1.15% for the month or part of the month. This is the cases where you have deducted the TDS but you've not paid to the government. So these are the sections. Now, basically, in this case, I'm just talking about few ways where you may get the notice. So one is the TDS returns are filed. The department processes the returns, to check the arithmetical error, incorrect claim, whatever, if there is any late fee which should be deducted under section 234E. So all that will be calculated, and then the department sends the intimation to specify the tax liability, if any. If it's a normal intimation, you'll get it under section 200A, and that's for the original TDS returns. And in case if it's for the rectification of TDS return, then will come under 154. Now, just I'm giving you a brief of what types of defaults you will find in such a intimation. There could be short payment, interest on short payment, interest on late payment, that is 234A E, sorry. Then short deduction, interest on short deduction, interest on payments or defaults. Oh, all right. And what precautions you need to take in order to avoid these defaults. So first and foremost is obviously, you should deduct TDS as per the applicable rate and, pay to the government. That is the first thing. Then stay updated with the prevailing rate of deduction. As you are aware, in the past year, the rates have already been changed twice. So you need to just be updated with, the recent amendments that may come up. Then while depositing the tax, you're supposed to use the correct challan, that is 281. Please make sure that, the TAN, the assessment year, the section, minor head, all those are correct. In case if it is not correct, there's a way to correct it. But rather than, correcting later, it's better to be careful. Even, doing a PAN validation from the income tax side is very important. And nowadays we have a lot of software that, already do all these things. So, try to use the latest technology, which you can help you file the returns and all. Then the next point is, while filing the returns, put the correct challan details. There are so many cases, where the wrong challan details go into the return, and then you get a notification saying that, there's a mismatch in the challan again, there's a process to correct it. But just be careful of, what you're inserting in the system. Then there should not be a difference in the amount quoted and deposited. Like, many times you get notices where, wrong amount has gone against the PAN. So that also we should be mindful. Then the PAN for deductees must be valid and correct. Like I mentioned, you can download the TAN PAN masters from the traces, and you can use it to file the incorrect and invalid PANs. Now I'm just given a case. Let's see if you get this information. How do you basically answer to these intimations? So first example I've given is, Mr. A has filed the TDS return in section 26Q form for the quarter 2 on 31st October 24. After 3 working days, he receives an intimation under section 200A from the department in the mail. As per the intimation, the department has raised defaults amount under short payment, short deduction, and interest. Now, Mr. A got confused that, like, what mistake have I done? Why have I got this notice? So, in order to figure out, what is the exact mistake, you need to download the justification report, which is available on Traces. Now, once you download the the report, justification report, it will give you line by line information about all the errors that, need to be corrected. So here's how to do it. You log into the Traces website, you request for, you go to defaults, you request for justification report download. Then you select the financial year, the quarter, and the form type of which you have received the intimation, and you require the justification report, and click on go. Now, once you click on go, there are 2 ways in which, you can validate your request. One is through DSE, and the second is normal KYC. So I've just shown you how basically the website looks. So if you're selecting normal KYC, you will put the details like financial year, quarter, form, and you will select the option validate without using DSC. Now, when you send the request, as you can see, you have to give a correct challan number, like all the details like BASR, date, amount, and everything. And you have to give 3 PANs for verification. This is all part of the verification to get the justification report. Now, I've just written it down. Whatever I said, I've just written it down, that you enter the token number of the return file, you enter all the challan details, which is required for the verification. Then you enter the PAN and amount combination. Now, the first preference is that you put 3. But in case if you don't have a challan which has 3 PAN, then the second preference is 2, and likewise 1. But generally, I'm sure, everyone must be having a challan which has more than 3. So that is what is preferred. Now, second option is with DSE. So first thing what you have to do is in the profile, you have to go and, first, whoever is the authorized person, you have to register the DSE. Then once you file all the BRC and the challan details and all the PAN details, you select KYC validation through DSE. Then, you mention all the financial quarter and whatever the details are required. You validate DSE. You enter the token number. and the PAN deduction as we had shown earlier, and normally through use of DSE. Now for the traces side also, that EM signer, that DSE works. So if you don't have that, it would be preferred if you download that utility, and the DSE will be validated through that software. It's the same one which is used in income tax. Yeah, the authorized person. No, it's the client only, na, because you are filing the return on base of your client. Yeah, so you can, whoever is responsible, basically whoever is authorized, you have to register their DSC, because ultimately his signature will be going, and that is how the validation is done. Now, I've on the screen, I'm just showing you the steps, basically how on traces, how it looks, and how to download the justification report. So once you log into the traces website, as you can see that there's a default. Once you click on the default, okay, sorry. I'm showing you the steps to how to view the justification report. So once you have already requested for the justification report via the KYC, normal KYC or DSC, then you'll have to download it. So over here, as you can see in the download section, you have to click on requested downloads. You will see the request that you had placed, and only if it is available you will be able to download. If it is in process, you will not be able to download it. And usually the portal takes around 3 working days uh, to get it available, so just giving you a timeline for that. So once you download it, it will be in a zip file. Now you can convert it into an Excel. I'll show you how to convert it in an Excel also, so that it is easy to view and verify the, like, even correct the issue. So this is, I've just given a password that you can use. So basically this is the format of the password which you need to use once you have downloaded the justification report to view the report. Now, you can also, like I mentioned, it's better to use the Excel format for viewing the report. So on, you can see in the download section over here, there's a click here option. So you can just download the utility, wherein you click and you upload the downloaded file, and it will convert it into Excel and give it to you. So basically it gets very easy to know, to get the information and to basically correct it. Now this is the basically the zip file that you need to download. Traces justification report, generation utility, whatever the current utility will be there, because it keeps on getting updated. So it's always better to keep on downloading the latest one. Now, once you download the utility and open it, this is how the box will look. Over here on the first box, you have to give the link of the report that you have downloaded, and second, you have to give a location on your basically computer where you want to save it and you want to see it, and then you click on generate report and the report will be generated. So that was about the justification report. Now I'll be taking this section very quickly, because like I already mentioned earlier, it's not applicable from 1st April 25, but I just wanted the audience to know about it because it's still a very recent amendment. So how we used to do our check compliance, I'm just giving you a brief of that. We used to log into the income tax website, then we would go on pending reporting portal. After, once you enter the reporting, you would select new registration and click on continue. Then in the form, you would select compliance check, tax deductor collector company. Then you would get all the relevant, like you would get the entity name and the PAN and the address on the screen. Then you have to enter the principal officer's details, and then you have to click on submit. Once you select this, you will get an acknowledgement that you have registered for this request. And once the registration request is approved by the department, you would be able to download it. So I've just mentioned the points in this slide. You go to the reporting portal. On the left hand side, on the reporting portal, you log in. You mention the principal officer's name in the PAN and password. Then you select the form type, and after successful login, you click on the compliance check provided on the link. So there are two options. One is a single PAN and one is a bulk PAN, as you can see on the screen. So you can select whatever you want. In case if you're putting a single PAN, you can just put and proceed with it. In case if you want to go for basically bulk search, then there is a CSV file which you need to download the template, put all the PAN details in that CSV file and upload it. And that's how it'll work. Now, coming to lower TDS concepts and requirement. So basically, this section is important because many of times, companies have to deduct TDS at a higher rate. But there are so many companies who face a working capital crunch because, say, suppose they have to reduce TDS at the rate of 10%. But if after calculation and all, maybe they just the tax comes to around 2 or 3%. So in such a scenario, you have to approach your AO and request for a lower deduction certificate. So I'm just giving you a brief, like how to go about it. So these are the two things I'm going to talk about: lower TDS concept and documents that are required to be submitted, like like a rough document requirement, because the documents that are required by AO depends on the AO, because they keep on asking for various documents. I'm just giving you a brief of what documents you may have to submit. So lower deduction basically concept, most of the clients want to apply for a lower rate, obviously, or a nil rate. Now it has to be given in a form 13 to the income tax officer. You have to also provide all the justifications why the, say suppose the rate is 10% and you want a nil rate or you want a 2% rate. You have to provide all the what do you say documents supporting your request to the AO. Only then he will process it. Now once such a certificate is granted under section 197, this certificate has to be mentioned when you file the return. Like when the rate column is there, they ask you over there. So you have to be careful, you have to mention it over there. Otherwise, the lower rate will not be applied. Then while applying for lower TDS, we also need to mention the PAN of the deductor, because in many cases I have seen that, say suppose around 10-15 companies are deducting my tax. The AO may say that company X should deduct at 1 and company B should reduce at, say, 2%. So many a times the AO gives you the reduced rate as per the company also. So if you more or less know that for this company, who are the people who are going to deduct TDS, you have to give the PAN numbers for it. And there are times, when the AO gives different rate for different companies. Now, I've just given you an example over here that suppose the A is deducted, received a TDS certificate for 194J for transaction with the B, then and the transaction amount is being 3 lakh. Normally the TDS, we all know, would be 10%, but since you've received a lower certificate, you are eligible to reduce at 6.5. Just a brief of the documents that you should keep handy when you're approaching the AO for the lower deduction certificate. So obviously first is the signed form 13, that is the main. Then copies of returns of income tax along with the acknowledgement for the past 3 years. Then any assessment orders if you have for the past 3 years, it's good to carry them also. In case if assessee has business or profession income where tax audit or any audit is required, then it's preferable you carry all the audit reports with you. then projected profit and loss account for the current year, and computation of income statement for the previous 3 financial years, and the estimated computation for the current financial year. So these are the basic documents that you should carry with you when you are approaching the AO. Then obviously, depending on your AO and the requirement, the AO will tell you what other documents or what else needs to be submitted to him to give you the lower certificate. I've just continued with few more requirements: copy of the PAN card, then the TDS, number of all the parties responsible for paying you, ETDS, acknowledgement of the previous 2 years estimated income during the financial year, any other documents. And if there is any TDS default, please make sure that all the defaults are cleared before you approach, because if there is any TDS default, then I've seen, the AO does not even listen to your case. This is the personal experience that I have had. So before approaching the AO, please make sure that all the TDS compliances have been done, all the notices, whatever are there, have been, completely fulfilled. Now, in case, you have any TDS challan corrections, or suppose you have paid excess TDS and you want a refund, then I've just shown a few procedures, basically how do you manage and how do you approach it. So the first example I'm giving is of Miss Dina. She has made she's making payment of TDS. While making the payment of TDS, she selected the wrong challan. Now she's wondering whether she can change the section in the challan or no. So yes, you can change. There are 3 ways in which you can change. Now, if you have a physical challan from a bank, then you'll have to approach the bank. In case if you have filed it online, you can do it online. And if you want to go to the AO, you can go for both, like whether physical or online, you can approach the AO for both. Now, basically, there are certain time limits within which you should apply in case if you want to get this correction done. So if there is some issue in the PAN or the TAN, then you have to do it within 7 days. And especially if you're doing for TAN, the AO may ask for a no objection certificate, or even if you're doing it, mostly you would do it from a AO only if there is some TAN connection. So they would want a no objection certificate from the from the person's TAN which is mentioned on the challan. Then if there is some correction in the assessment year, you have to do it within 7 days. If there is issue in the total amount, like something you have paid and it's not shown on the challan, then within 7 days. Major head, minor head, and nature of payment can be done within 3 months. Now, yeah. Yeah, they're accepting it, but in some cases, if the client wants to go, see, section correction, you will not have a issue if you're doing it for 194 JC. When does it come into play? When you're doing it for 195. Over there, it does not happen. So I'm talking about those cases, because usme you have to approach. But other than that, you can basically use the challan for anything. Only for that international thing, thoda issue aata hai. That's the only thing. Now, if you have to approach the AO for making, so I've just listed few things. So while applying for, like I told you, for the TAN change in the TAN, the AO may ask for the no objection certificate. So it's better if you go with the non-objection only. You will save your time. I mean, this is from the personal experience that I've had. So it's better you take a no objection and go. And please make sure that whatever challan you are requesting, basically, the amount which you're mentioning is available on the challan. So it's always better कि उल्टा से आप एक प्रिंट आउट ले लो कि ये चालान में इतना अमाउंट दिख रहा है. So this is in practical life what I do. Now I'm talking about the online process. So in the online process, correction facility is available for unclaimed and match challans. Digital signature is mandatory. So in case if you're going for that non-KYC, the other KYC route, it's better to approach the AO. And no approval from the AO is required for the following changes. Like I've mentioned, there is a financial law. You don't require the AO's approval. Minor head, major head, section code. And I've mentioned over here, especially for section 195. Otherwise, more or less, you can use the challan for everything. But for TAN, again, if there is some issue in the PAN or TAN, especially PAN still, there's a way out, but TAN के लिए तो आपको AO के पास ही जाना पड़ेगा. There's no other option. Now I've given you the steps how to do it. So you have to obviously log into your Traces account. You go to the statements and statements of payment menu. You request for the all task challan correction. Proceed on to the checklist. So here is a checklist, like a screenshot of the checklist. So you have to make sure that all these have been compliant before you're applying, because in a way you're giving a validation that none of these things have been done by the assessee. Only then you can proceed with it. So I'll just read it out. Please ensure that your assessing officer is not giving credit of the challan manually for which you are submitting the challan correction from the website. Please ensure that no online challan correction is in process through Traces or challan correction in the TDS, TCS statement through NSDL. Please ensure that no all-task challan correction from the assessing officer is in process. Please ensure no refund should be initiated against the all-task challan for which you are submitting the challan corrections from the website. Please ensure that your assessing officer should not use the challan tagging interest or fees for which you are submitting the challans from the website. So these are the validations that you're giving before you proceed. Then once you click on proceed, then the next step is you have to select your financial year. You have to select your minor, major head, code selection, proceed. And then in the fifth step, you have to give the challan number of which you're sending a request. So once all these details are given, you have to mention the correction. If the details entered for the challan are correct, then the system will auto-populate what you can see on the screen, which is there in the blue. And then below, you have an option to make all the changes, like what financial year you want, which section you want to make the changes. Once you whatever changes you want to make, you enter. Then you review whatever request you have given. Then it goes for verification. You click on the verification and it will be, your request will be submitted. Now, how to track? See, you need to give 3 working days minimum from whatever request you do, and then you want to check. So that's the minimum timeline that you need to give. Once the 3 working days are gone, then you can check that whether your request has been approved or no. So you log into the Traces, you search either on the request number that you must have received, or the date on which you had requested for the correction. Now you can see the system is in this example showing me, and there would be something in the remarks. So submitted to ITAD, process, rejected, failed. So once it is processed, then you'll be able to view it. Refund of excess TDS paid. Now, in case you have paid excess TDS, you can request for a refund also against the challan, like whatever is the balance amount, you can request. Now, if the challan is pertaining for a period after 1st April 2010 up till financial year 2007-8, then you can do it online through the Traces website. But if challan is having the date of deposit up till 31st March 2010, then it has to be done manually with the AO, whatever refund you want. So I'm going to show you how you do it online. First, to register digital signature of the authorized person on Traces. It's important if you want to do it. If you don't have a digital certificate, then you'll have to go through the manual way. There should be no outstanding demand against TAN or the deductor. The refund amount should be more than 100 rupees. And the maximum amount that you can claim is the amount that is available in front of the particular challan. All the TDS statements in which the challan has been claimed should have been processed before putting the request. And maximum you can, in one go, you can request a refund of 5 challans. Now the procedure. You log into the Traces website, you go to the statement payment tab, request for the refund, you click on proceed. They will ask you for the section code. It's against 195 or other than 195. And then you add the challan. So this is how it looks. Then you have to select a reason. So you can see on the screen there are reasons. I'll just read it out quickly. I've made an excess payment of tax by mistake and the amount refund claim is not part of tax deducted or deductible. I have closed my business and there is no outstanding tax liability of tax deducted at source. Refund is due to the appeal effect or any other effect. So you have to select whatever is applicable to you. Then you have to add the challan. Now, when you add the challan, you have to give those basic requirements that are there: BSR code, date, challan, amount, and you have to select whether the challan pertains to any appeal order. If it pertains to any appeal order, then you have to mention the appeal order number as well. Now, once you have selected everything, you basically the TAN and the deductor name will be auto populated along with the communication address. You need to just verify all this and then give the bank details to submit for proceedings. Now verify the details, proceed, review the summary, and you can submit it via attaching the DSC and proceed. You will get acknowledgement, which is form 26B. Once the acknowledgement is received, the judicial officers within 14 days will process your request. Now you can also track the refund request on the statement payment website, whether it has been approved or no. Then there are, I've just mentioned a few common reasons which are given by the officer for rejecting your claim. So there could be any demand outstanding because of which they will not process your refund. If the form 20B is submitted after the expiry of 14 days, then the request will be rejected due to invalid bank details or invalid address details. Request may also be rejected due to the available balance in the challan. Say you have written, 10,000 is available, but if only 7,000 is available, they will not process the request. And submission of the challan correction of the same challan, in these cases also, refund I've seen getting stuck. Now, how do you do online TDS corrections? So I'm going to talk about 4 scenarios. First scenario is addition challan and set off of interest. So basically, if your return has been processed and some late fee, something is levied, then how do you add a challan? Second, I'm going to give you an example about a set off of liability against the available challan. How do you set it off? Addition or modification of deductee details. And last, I'm going to tell you about the PAN correction, whether PAN is valid and where, in case if it is invalid. So I'll just be discussing these 4 scenarios with you. The first scenario is Mr. A filed the TDS return for Q4 for financial year 1920. After 3 working days, he checked the system and he saw that his return has been processed with default. He got confused because he didn't know that why it had been processed by default. So he downloaded the justification report following the steps which I've already discussed, and he discovered that the department had levied a TDS of 1,500 rupees because he had paid the TDS after the due date. Now he went on the NSDL site and he made the payment of 2,000 rupees, and then he thought his job is done. He paid the government and nothing has to be done. But that is not the correct way. You can't just, pay the challan and think, that the tax officer will understand that this challan was, against this particular default. So you have to complete the process. So what is the process? So you have to go on the website and you have to add this challan to set off your interest liability. Otherwise, the AO will not know why this challan has been paid. He will not understand. You need to give a link. So again, you log into your website, go to defaults, request for correction, enter the required details, which are those normal financial year, quarter, and you submit. There will be a token number. You have to also mention the token number of your latest process statement. Then the correction category, you have to select online and you request it. So once your request has been, once you have applied, you can go and track the correction. And if the status is available, only then, you will be able to download. If it's still in process or if there is anything else, you will not be able. So you can see on the screen, there's a tab available. Once you click it, you'll be able to do the correction. So you can do it via using digital signature or the normal KYC. So you choose whether you want to do DSC or without DSC. Then if you're selecting the digital signature, there will be a validation that is required. A one-time KYC page will come up wherein you have to provide the details which is displayed. After that, if you're not going for DSC and if you're going for a normal KYC, then you have to give the BSR code and the token number, 3 PANs and all if you're doing a normal KYC. Now, once you're done with the KYC, this is the screen that will be on your screen. Over here, you have to select. You can see there is a late payment interest that is levied. And there is an option over here. There is you have to select add challan to the statement over your view details. When you request this, you will see the challan that you have paid. So in my example, I paid 2000, so that challan should reflect. And over here, there's an option to add challan. So over here, you can add the challan. So in this is the last one is the 2000 rupees that I had paid. So I will select this. Then in the selected challan, I will enter the amount. So you can see 2000 rupees I have paid towards the interest. But in my case, I just need to pay 1500. So I will put 1500 over here, amount claimed as interest. And then the color of the challan will change to orange. Next, correct. So click on the submit button, the correction statement, and click on the confirm. Then it will be ready for submission. You can view the statement and you have to select over here view statement, as you can see. Then once it is submitted, you can, after 3 working days, you can go and check if your request has been processed or no. So basically, you will say submitted. You will see either submitted to ATD, in process, or available. But you will be able to see the request only if it is available, or sometimes if it's in process, then you'll be. But mostly, whenever it's available, you'll be able to see whether it's been processed or no. Now, going to the second example, a company has filed TDS return form 26Q post the due date for quarter 4 of 1920. So the company is liable to pay late fees of 2,600. The company has some TDS challans which are not fully consumed. So can the company pay TDS from those challans, or will it have to pay separately? Because it's a fee which is levied under 234 for late payment. So in this case, you can utilize. If there is any amount lying in any challan, you just have to give a link and you can use it. So I'll just show you the process of how you can use those challans. So you go to the Traces website, go to defaults, select for correction. You enter the required details. You put the form, the token number of the latest process statement. Correction category should be selected online, and you can track the correction request. Click on view, and also you'll have to validate through the KYC. Now this is something how it will look. Type of correction mein you'll have to select pay 220 LP LD interest late paying fee, because over in the current case you're paying for the late payment fee, so you'll have to select this. And obviously your correction could be for some other reason also, but in my example this is the reason, so I've selected that. So once you can see that over here late filing levy is 2600, you can see. Then you have to select on the challan through which you want to pay it. So you click on this and you will get a list of challans and the balance which is available. So then you click on whichever challan you want to use. So for example, I'm clicking on the third and you'll be setting off the balance. So over here, you can see the amount available over here is 76,242. I've selected that. Now from this TDS amount, I'll be deducting 2,600 rupees and leaving, and I'll put it over here. So this is how the screen will look. I've deducted 2,600 from the TDS rupees, and I've added to the levy because that is where I want it to be set off. Then once you have done this change, you click on save process. So you'll be able to see that that 2,600 has been applied through the challan that you had selected. So you'll get a zero liability over here. Then you click on submit, confirm, submit, and within 3 working days, hopefully this should be ended. Like you can just go and check whether it has been processed properly or not. Now the next example, 10, okay. So minimum you wait for 3, but it depends. Like I'm just saying the minimum, but sometimes it takes more. And at times it does not happen. You have to go to the AO. So that all also happens. But generally online ho jata hai. Now the systems are much better than what they were earlier. So whether be it TDS or be it income tax, the systems are working much better than what they were before. And I'm sure they are improving and they're going to get better. Now, my next example is Mr. B had paid professional fees to Vivek Shah for 25,000 and he had deducted TDS at 10,000. But when he filed the return, he selected 15,000 instead of 25,000 when he was putting the details. So now you have to modify the amount. So how do you do it? You log into the website, you go to the defaults, you request for a correction. In this case, the steps are more or less same only. So basically in the types of correction, this time I'll be selecting modify or add deductee details because I need to change the amount. So, I mean, whatever correction you're doing, you have to select. So just be careful of what you're selecting. Then you have to, so there are 2 things in this. Over here, the PAN is available because it's for Vivek only. So I'll put Vivek Shah's PAN number and it will show me the amount 15,000 which needs to be corrected. So I will correct it in these 2 fields. And then, I will save once the correction is made. Click on submit, click to confirm, and it will be submitted. And you can check it post 3 working days if the correction has been done or no. Now, steps for online PAN correction. The prerequisites are you're supposed to have a digital signature for this request. And like I mentioned, that you need to have a installed EM signer to use the DSC. And regular statement should be processed through traces. If you're still using the pen drive mode and getting it filed, then it's difficult to get it processed online. So you log into the traces website, you go to the default. Over there, this time you'll be selecting uh, and so basically once you have selected the correction, if it is available, the correction was accepted. Now the statement is available for correction. Click on the hyperlink. So once you select this, you will get an option to change the PAN. In case if it is in process, then your request has been accepted, but you're already working in on, so you click on the hyperlink. So if it is available or in process, you will be able to access it. If it is rejected, then there would be a reason for rejection which is mentioned, and then you may have to approach the AO for further actions. Now, if the status is saying submitted, then you need to wait for some more hours before it changes to available or in process. Now I'm showing the step if it is available or in process. So you have to select over here PAN correction from there'll be a download over here. So you select. Now there are two options. One is the PAN is invalid and the PAN is valid. So I'll be discussing both the cases. So invalid. So basically, if you want to change the PAN, which originally you entered was invalid, then you have to click on the invalid. And if you want to change the valid PAN, then you select that. Accordingly, the steps will appear. So first, I'm showing you the steps in case if you've entered a valid PAN, then you can see that it's showing that it's a valid PAN. Name is there as per the PAN master. Then if the PAN is invalid, there will be an error show. Like over here, you can say invalid PAN, invalid PAN, and then you need to select the correct PAN over here, and the name as per PAN will be auto generated once you enter the PAN number, and you can save over here. In case if the PAN is valid, the action status will change to saved, as you can see over here, saved. Click on the submit corrections and the statement will be and the correction will be done. Before you submit, you can also review the PAN errors and the deductee change. So you can just view the corrections and then give a confirmation for the same. You process it for you submit it for processing. You attach your DSC, and the system will generate a 15-digit token number, which you can use to check whether the whatever correction you have requested is being processed or no. Yeah, so I'm done with the presentation that I had. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer it. Otherwise, like yeah, from traces. So see, usually, yeah, right. So see, ideally, when you're submitting any return or anything, the token number comes there. So that's what I tell everyone. Just take a screenshot of it. If it is not there, then you can request. I think there should be an option. I'm not like very sure, but on the system there is an option where you put your your challan details, you put your PAN, and you can request for the acknowledgement. But see, in my case, I mostly always have the acknowledgement number, so I have not faced this issue. Right. Old ones, yeah. For old ones, so anyways, you'll have to go to the income tax AO only if you want to do any corrections, because online if you I'm sure you must be knowing traces majorly went change in 2007-8 उसके पहले there was some other system which was going on. So वो पहले के cases है which are still pending, I think, with EOS. So yeah. No, because 194 IB is the whatever TDS you have deducted, it's gone against a particular pan. So you will not be able to adjust it with anything else. You'll have to adjust it like whoever, you must have paid TDS for some party. You'll have to go and speak with that party only. Because I'm sure he must have claimed that TDS in his income tax return and he'll be able to refund you the amount. But online there is no way that you can matlab you can approach the AO, but wo AO will also tell you, get a no objection certificate from that person, jiska you have deducted. But practically I have not seen, getting a refund in my cases. So it's always that the person who, because wo person ne le hi liya rahega, he must have, claimed that TDS in his return. No, because I'm telling you, in my I have also like in my case also, like I had gone to the AO, I had gone with the no objection letter and everything because it goes against a PAN, right? Specific PAN when you're filling the form. So I did not get a refund, and ultimately the person who had deducted, he had already claimed the TDA. Like in my case, he had claimed. So I told him to pay me back whatever the difference was. But if it is 2%, 5%, सिस्टम में नहीं है ऑप्शन. Hmm. Yeah, but so if that was my case, I would go to the AO only because system में adjustment का है ही नहीं है. मतलब मेरे को तो नहीं मालूम है how to do it because you'll have to go to the AO and get it done through him only. अगेंस्ट द सेम डिडक्टी तो यू कैन यूज इट ना, चालान तो आप यूज कर ही सकते हो. सेम अगर वही पर्सन है पैन, किसी और के साथ आपको करना है तो डिफिकल्ट रहेगा, बट इफ इट इज द सेम पैन देन यू कैन यूज द चालान ना व्हाइल यू फाइंड द रिटर्न. फाइनेंशियल ईयर. या बट प्रॉब्लम. सी अगर आप एडवांस में भी कर दोगे बट यू सी राइट, वो एक ही चालान है यूजिंग फॉर 2 फाइनेंशियल ईयर. सो प्रैक्टिकली तो प्रॉब्लम नहीं होना चाहिए बिकॉज आप current you're deducting in current financial year, using in the next financial year, which should at least it'll process you, but then the AO, it may not get processed because the financial of the challan is also different. So the only way I can suggest it is because I have used previous year का challans to pay TDS for this year, तो accept तो हुआ है मेरा. Yeah, because it's a form na that you fill. It's it's very different. You're aware about the process. The process is only very different. So for 194 IB, I had gone to the AO. I could not find anything on the system. So there is nothing. So I had gone to the AO only, and I had gone with the no objection letter from the person because it's a form, right? A particular PAN ke against you had. So I had taken it to the AO. The AO did not take my request. So then I went to that party and I told him, I gave him all the documents that see this excess TDS has gone. But in my case, the party had claimed the TDS. So he gave me the money back. मेरा ये केस नहीं था 2% 5% का नहीं था. मेरे केस में genuinely my client had paid excess, and since the party had claimed that in his income tax return, he gave that money back to my client. So my case was different. But AO ने मेरे को कोई help नहीं किया था. I'd approached the AO, but I did not get a solution from him. This, yeah, that's a system glitch, but because the process is only different, so I don't know how you will adjust it.
Hello. In case of a filed return, if any particular transactions I have to delete it, or I have to because of the maybe check has been issued but it has been stale after a particular period of time. What is the proper procedure? Uh, when we are doing through the online process, it doesn't allow to zero the gross amount, that amount on which the TDS has been made. That I could not able to make it zero.
But you can
Although
change the
TDS,
PAN, no?
yeah, you can change the
So
PAN,
you
but
change the party.
but
That's
I do not have the transaction. So in that particular case, what is the proper procedure to delete that particular transaction?
See, if I was in your place, I would put a amount of 10 rupees और फिर वो 1 rupee जाने देती मैं.
Okay.
Because this is a practical glitch. So मैं वो minimum amount लेके I would
Okay.
have let it gone.
Madam, I have another query. The bill from the Airtel regarding bandwidth rental charges.
Okay.
Party has been issued a concessional rate certificate under 194J.
Right.
Now, bandwidth is as per the section doesn't attract TDS. Even if we wish to deduct, it should be under 194C, if at all. Then can I apply that concessional rate certificate against this particular transaction? Can I, in case of a bandwidth rental charge?
So see, this is something that you have to discuss with your customers. See, if it is bandwidth is not applicable only TDS, to फिर it's not your duty only to deduct TDS. But if the client has gone and got a lower deduction certificate, 194.7 के अंदर, sorry, 197 के अंदर ही मिलता है lower. So over there उसमें कैसे रहता है, हर एक PAN के against I told you get a particular rate. So the client may insist कि please आप मेरा deduct कर लो because this is the documents which he has submitted to the AO while getting that 197. And the AOs are very like they keep all these things in mind कि मैंने इसके against दिया तो आपने ये rate पे pay किया कि नहीं. So the client may request you and it's good only ना pay. I mean अगर client बोल रहा है तो pay करो ना.
Okay. Thank you.
No. There is? Okay. There's a declaration. I'm sorry. There is a declaration which you can submit. But I mean, I have never submitted a declaration till date. In case if in any quarter the TDS is so in practical life I have not, because अगर आप देखोगे भी traces में latest वो मांगता है, which is the latest acknowledged token number or acknowledgement number. So if there is no transaction, then you don't file the return basically. Yeah. Only on which the TDS has been deducted, because there would be so many transactions on which TDS is not applicable only. So, matlab, how will you put it in the return? That is because mostly salary अगर आप देखोगे, it goes through a they must be having some payroll tool and all जिससे directly data चला जाता है. So all the data goes. Yeah, there is no obligation. Non-resident salary person. So, huh, you don't need to report it. Mm, so then, um, I'll have to check because I'm not very sure if I select 195 and there is an option. I think in the drop down you do get an option of DTAA. So if you want to report, you can report it because वहाँ पे then I think they allow you to select the rate also because DTAA has the various DTAA have different rates. So as far as I remember, there is a drop down option and you can report it. It's basically a company's policy. Yeah, so वो option है, so you can select whatever rate you want and you can report. Yeah, that is also correct. Yeah, and there is an option in the return. You can select whatever rate you want. Yeah. So,
Ma'am, just one question.
Yeah.
In the case where you said you want to amend the amount, so you are increasing the amount, and for some reason there is no enough balance in the challan,
then you cannot do it.
then how do you?
It will not process only. Option ही नहीं है. You will have to pay a challan and attach because वो match नहीं होगा तो वो accept ही नहीं करेगा ना system.
Okay, but then within the same listing, you have to add the challan and then add amend the
Yeah,
amount.
yeah.
Both will happen in the same listing. Or
Yeah.
will it be first it will process with default and then you have to add the challan, or will it happen within the same token? I mean,
नहीं, see, हो तो जाना चाहिए because when you pay the challan, you go on the alt task and you check, whether it
there
is matching
balance
or no.
not.
And then when you're doing correction, you have to select the challan. So you can select whichever challan you want. तो साथ में ही हो जाएगा.
Okay.
You don't need to wait.
Don't need to wait. Right?
हाँ,
Okay.
you don't need to wait. I'm sorry. I'll take one. Yeah, there's a next session. That's why. So,
Okay, just one query, please.
okay.
Okay, I want to register DSC,
Huh.
but over there I'm just getting like instead of getting signatory details, it is showing a page where I have to add token details and everything.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, of 24Q of Q3. But when I'm adding those details, it is saying incorrect token number. It's not accepting, whereas I have only one, like that's only the one return.
So in this case, you'll have to contact the traces helpline because this is the website ka error. Normally to ho jata hai. In case if it's not happening in your case, then you'll have to speak with the traces because it must be some website ka glitch.
But I'm trying this since past 2 months almost.
They are not giving you a reply, traces people?
No, I never tried calling the
No,
traces
call
people.
them up because
Okay.
they're very prompt. If you face any problem now, I'm telling you, the income tax helpline and the traces helpline, just call them. If they don't answer, write emails to them. They're very quick. They give you, they respond. So don't sit with it. If you have any queries ना सीधा call center में call कर देने का, email कर देने का, कुछ ना कुछ तो जवाब आ ही जाता है because a lot of time it is just a system glitch.
Okay, and can I ask one more query, please?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm filing the TDS return 195 under section 195. So, but like DTAA select किया lower rate. जब ये वो FPU file generate करना होता है, so over there they are showing कि ये lower rate नहीं कर चल सकता है. It should be 20%.
PAN बरोबर था.
PAN नहीं है.
PAN नहीं है तो फिर 20% ही जाएगा.
But 15 CB file किया है ना. So we select like income tax or DTAA, whichever is beneficial.
Right.
So we take lower rate.
Yeah.
But I'm getting that error. So what is to be done?
So what we do, we put a dummy PAN. Have you tried putting a dummy PAN?
Yes, I tried. Okay,
see, so in my case, dummy PAN डाल के हो जाता है. अगर नहीं होता है, then again you need to contact traces. They'll help you out. Because if DTAA rate is there, then you have to consider that rate, even if the PAN is not there.
So dummy PAN means ABCD 1 2 3 4 5.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try once again.
Yeah, we usually use the dummy pan and get done with it. Okay. Thank you so much. It was, a pleasure to come back to WRC and give a lecture. Thank you so much for being such an attentive audience.